I'm Tom from Do-It-Yourself Home Automation, and this is a look at my Miku Pro Smart Baby Monitor. So this is a really great smart baby monitor, and it's basically a camera that you mount above your baby's crib. So here's what it looks like from above. It's mounted on the wall. I'll talk about that in a moment. And it's oriented so that it captures the whole space inside of the crib here. And that allows you to do a bunch of different things. One is obviously you can get video and monitor what your kid is up to, and there's some features we'll talk about with that are really great. But also, Miku says that they have AI built into this and some really advanced sensors. And what that allows the device to do is actually to detect whether and how fast your baby is breathing. Just a quick note that Miku sponsored me with a free Miku for my testing. Thanks for that, guys. Great to be your partner. So that's a concern that a lot of parents have. You might find yourself going into the nursery frequently to check, is baby breathing okay? And the concept here is that using some radar sensors, using some really advanced sensors, the Miku Pro can actually, the company says, detect your baby's breathing rate and display it in the associated app. So that's the smart part. And the thing that it does differently from other cameras that claim to do this is that it can do it, Miku says, without using any kind of wearable device. So your baby doesn't have to wear a special sensor or a special onesie or anything. This camera can do that even without any kind of wearable attached to your baby. So I think that's a big benefit to the AI offered here by the Miku Pro. So I talked about mounting. In order to mount anything safely above a baby's crib, especially where I live in California, I would want to know that it was really, really secure. And that's definitely the case with the Miku Pro. I mounted this myself. The positioning has to be super accurate. I think that has to do with the sensors so that it's exactly the right height and the crib is centered within the field of view so the sensors work perfectly. So basically you're measuring the height from the wall. You're measuring the center of the crib to get it exactly right between the camera. And then you're actually drilling some holes in your drywall and then mounting the base of the camera onto those holes. So in my case, I screwed it into a stud. So I could probably, don't try this at home, obviously, I could probably hang on this thing if it was solid enough, sticking out far enough, and it probably wouldn't fall off. So I'm very, very secure that this is something that's not gonna fall over even if there's shaking or some other kind of thing happening. So that's great to know. And again, to me, that's a prerequisite of even using it. So installation is a little bit challenging because you are drilling holes in the wall, putting in drywall anchors, or going into a stud like I've done here. You could get a pro to do it. I did it myself. It took me probably about 45 minutes. And once you mount this, then they've also got this channel. This is an adhesive connected to the wall. You can see it follows all the way down to the floor. And that then has a power cord. And that cord comes up, and then we've got the plug far away from the crib. And the concept there is that tiny hands are going to be reaching through this crib area here, and they could easily grab a traditional power cable. So this channel that you attach to the wall actually prevents hands from being able to get in there and grab onto a cable. So that's a thoughtful addition. I think it works really well to protect the cord, and what you get is this really clean looking kind of mounted camera above the crib. So from the camera itself, you end up getting an HD video feed, and you can access that through the Miku app. Miku says that it's very secure. They have onboard encryption on the camera, so they're protecting the video feed, which is something that a lot of kind of cheaper, more basic cameras that just use a radio transmission, instead of, in this case, this is over your home's Wi-Fi, don't do. A lot of those just send an unencrypted video signal. This camera sends a encrypted video signal, they say, and it's really high quality, really clear video, which I love. So you can pull up the Miku app on your phone, you can get a live feed of the video of the crib, and it kind of looks like an overhead view. You can imagine what this camera is seeing from up above your crib, and it's sort of like this. It captures the whole crib. It's a little bit wider of an angle than my camera here, but you can see everything that's going on in there. But again, the camera's not just looking and giving you that feed, it's also using onboard AI and AI in the cloud to process that image. and also the sensors that are on this camera. So it'll do a couple of things with that. One is the breathing detection. So it will give you the rate at which your baby is breathing according to its sensors. To me, this worked sometimes. Sometimes I had challenges with it. One thing that was an issue for me was that the camera is supposed to detect when your baby leaves the crib, but sometimes mine wouldn't, and so it would actually track breathing for like a stuffed animal that happened to be in there. And I talked to Miku about that. They said the best way to avoid that is to press the power button to put the camera into standby mode when you take your baby out, but they did say they are working on that issue. When my baby is actually in here though, and is asleep and stationary, the breathing seems really accurate, and you can see the breathing rate change as they're drifting in and out of deep sleep. So that's great to see. Also, the AI is able to detect when your baby wakes up, and if they've just woken and they're moving and maybe rolling around, maybe making a little sound, versus when they've really woken up and need attention. And I found that the AI with that is very accurate. And that's great, because in the morning, you sometimes don't know if your kid is up yet or they're just moving in the crib. And with the Miku Pro, I'm able to get an alert when they're actually up. And it's pretty accurate. It doesn't really have a lot of false positives. And it also uses that data to track sleep and tell you how long your kid slept. And again, that works well for me as long as it's not mistakenly detecting a stuffed animal or something else in the crib. So the breathing detection works well, but has that one challenge. The wake detection works really well, I found. The other thing that's nice is that you get a recording of any activity that happens in the crib. So you can go into the app on your phone, you can download clips of everything your baby did throughout the night. You're not scrolling through hours of video where they're stationary. It's just automatically, again, using that AI, flagging times that they made a sound or times that they moved around. And you can always, with the live feed, also speak back through the camera. So you can say something and you can listen, so you can hear what's going on in the nursery. So that's a really great function to have on there too. And the clips are just really adorable. You can see, what your kid does at night. If they're playing with a stuffed animal there in the middle of the night or something. It's kind of neat to be able to go into those clips and see that was happening. And the final thing that I really love with the Miku Pro is that it has some other sensors built in. It has a temperature sensor, for example. And temperature in a nursery is really important. It's one of the factors that can be really important for baby sleep. And so having the sensor on there, you get a live temperature reading on the video feed. You can make sure that your nursery is at the proper temperature. So I really like that there's those onboard sensors that provide a bit more data than our traditional baby monitor. The camera itself, you can see the size compared to my hand. Kind of looks like a webcam or something, but again, it's just so solidly mounted on the wall, which I think is a necessity. So that is my Miku Pro. Again, great AI features, really good quality video, and just exceptional mounting here, solidly mounted on the wall. And this has been working well for me for about 3 months now.